Hello there. Today we'll learn about method of standard pronunciation of Korean, which is regulated by the National Institute of the Korean Language. It contains 6 chapters in total, and today we will look at from chapter 1 to chapter 3. Okay? Let's look at chapter 1, General Rules. Section 1. Standard pronunciation is abided by the real pronunciation according to the tradition and rationality of Korean language. When it says the tradition and rationality of Korean language, it sounds so abstract. So you can think in this way, as you can see in the parentheses. It is the pronunciation of contemporary speakers of Seoul people. Seoul is the city of where? Yeah, South Korea, the capital city of South Korea. The speakers of Seoul people who are educated. So that is the standard pronunciation of Korean language. Okay, now let's look at chapter 2, consonants and vowels. Section 2. Korean consonants are composed of 19 consonants. That is a standard. These are 19 consonants. And name of consonants are already taught in the previous class, so you can see how I named them in Korean character. So at this time, I just pronounce them instead of writing them. Okay, 기역, 쌍기역. 쌍 means what? Double. Okay, so you have two 기역, so you call 쌍기역. Okay, 니은, 디귿, 쌍디귿, 리을, 미음, 비읍, 쌍비읍, 시옷, 쌍시옷, 이응, 지읒, 쌍지읒, 치읒, 키읔, 티읒, 피읒, 히읗. So it becomes 19 in total. Okay? And for vowels for Korean language, standard 21 vowels are shown below here. Starting from A, 에, 야, 에, 어, 에, 여, 예, 오, 와, 왜, 을, 요, 우, 워, 왜, 의, 유, 으, 의, 이. Okay? Here, when you see these two, the contemporary Koreans tend to not to distinguish them these days. So you can just pronounce yeah, okay? Okay, now let's look at section 4. 아, 에, 어, 에, 오, 을, 우, 위, 의 are pronounced as simple vowels, that is monophone. But when you see 위, 위 can be pronounced as diphthong to easy to pronounce. So instead of saying 위, you say 왜. Instead of saying 우, you say we. That's easier. Okay? Now let's look at section 5. Section 5. 야, 에, 여, 예, 와, 왜, 요, 워, 의, 유, 의 are pronounced as diphthong. Here, many Koreans, when you look at this and where these two, many Koreans don't tend to distinguish. Some distinguish them, some don't. Okay, bear in mind. Here, let's look at Part1. As you can see, these vowels are, okay, they are the same. Diphthong, right? But pronounced as monophthong. That is 저, 저, 쳐. When they are inflected as predicate. For example, when you say 가지요, when it's shortened, it becomes like this. And it pronounced as 저. Okay? Another example is 찌어. When it's shortened, it becomes like this, but you pronounced as monophthong. Okay? And 다치요, when it's shortened, it becomes like this, but still it's pronounced as monophthong. 다쳐. Okay? But number 2, apart from 예 and 래, 예 can be pronounced as 에. Okay? Now let's move on. Chapter 3. Length of pronunciation. Section 6. While the length of pronunciation for vowels is distinctive, that is distinguished, but these days the length of pronunciation is starting to disappear, but still has. Only for the first part of syllable. Only for the first part of syllable can have a long vowel. i.e., look at this. 눈 보라. 눈 means snow. 보라 means storm. So actually it's a compound word, snow plus storm, and in this case the first part of syllable can have a long vowel, that is 눈 보라, right? And 말씨, this one also has a long vowel in the first syllable, that is 말씨. 밤나무, it's a walnut tree. 밤 means walnut and 나무 means tree, and it's also compound word. and also it has long vowel in the first syllable. That is 밤, 나무. Let's look at number 2. 수많이, also pronounced as a long vowel in the first syllable. And these two words don't have a long vowel pronunciation. Okay, note. There is a tendency that contemporary Koreans seem not to distinguish the length of pronunciation, okay, for the first part of a syllable than before, unless necessary. But when it comes to compound words, other parts of syllables clearly have a long vowel. As you can see, 반, 신, 바니, or 반신, 바니. Here, 제 3, 제 4. Okay, these are compound words, and it could have a long vowel, even though it's not in the first syllable. Okay, let's move on to attachment. In the case of predicate, even though the stem of a word is combined with ending a, becoming one syllable, it still has a long pronunciation. That is, even though it became a shortened one-syllable word, it still has a long sound. For example, 보아, it shortened 봐. Another example is that 돼요, it's shortened as 돼. For 두어, it's shortened as 두어. For 하여, it's shortened as 해. But those words shown below do not pronounce with a long vowel. These are shortened as a one-syllable word, but it doesn't have a long vowel. For example, 오와, as it is shortened as 와. 지어, it is shortened as 저. 지어, it is shortened as 저. 치어, it is shortened as 쳐. Okay, when you think about the length of pronunciation, you can just think, oh, there are these kinds of examples. So try not to memorize them. Just you think, oh, there are rules for the length of pronunciation. Okay, that is about it. You don't have to remember them. Even native speakers Korean, they don't clearly distinguish them. Okay, you can distinguish them in the context of situation. So this is kind of example that there are rules about the length of pronunciation. Okay. Okay. Section 7. Even though there are syllables with a long vowel, they are pronounced short in the below cases. Pronounced short. Number one, monosyllabic predicate stamp plus a vowel ending. That is, 감다 means it's a similar meaning is wash. Okay, it is a basic form 감다, and 감 is stamp, predicate stamp. Okay, and 은이 is vowel ending. Okay, in this case they don't have a long vowel. 밟다 means step on. It's a basic form. Okay, and 밥 is a stamp. Okay, for the predicate, and 으면 is vowel ending. Okay, 신다 means what? Put on something like shoes. Okay, put on something. 신다 is a basic form, and 신 is what now? Okay, right, stamp, and 어 is a vowel ending. 알다 means acknowledge. Or no. Al is what? Yeah, stamp. Means is vowel ending. But you know, as English does have exceptions, Korean language also has exceptions. So exceptions are shown below. 끌다 is the basic form, and it's pronounced as 끌어. 떨다 is a basic form, but this is pronounced as 떫은. It's a long pronunciation. 벌다, 벌어. 썰다, 썰어. 없다, 없으니. Okay, as I mentioned before, try to not to remember them. Just you think, oh, there are the rules of length of pronunciation for Korean language. Okay. Okay, number 2. When predicate stamp plus passive suffix or imperative suffix, when they are combined, it doesn't have a long pronunciation. For example, 밟다, what does it mean? Yeah, step on. He is, in this case, passive suffix. So when it's combined with passive suffix, it just pronounced short, 밟히다, instead of long pronunciation. 꼬다. 꼬다 means, twist. And 꼬이다 means twisted. In this case also, it doesn't have a long sound, a long pronunciation. And 감다 means when you wash your hair, you say 감다. Okay, 감다 is basic form. 감 is stem. 기다 is ending. You know, but there are always exceptions, as does English language. 끌리다, 벌리다, 없애다. Attachment. Below compounds are pronounced short regardless of the original length. For example, 밀물, 썰물, 손살같이, 작은 아버지. Okay, as I mentioned before, in terms of length of pronunciation, try to not to memorize them, okay? Even Koreans don't tend to distinguish them in terms of length unless it is necessary. So try not to memorize them. But just remember, there is a case, the length of pronunciation. Okay, today we learned about the standard Korean pronunciation, starting from chapter 1 to chapter 3. Chapter 1 was, we were talking about general rules. Chapter 2 we talked about standard Korean vowels and consonants. And chapter 3 we talked about the length of pronunciation. Next time we'll talk about from chapter 4 to chapter 7. In fact, there is chapter 7. Okay? So in total, we will learn from chapter 1 to chapter 7. So next time we'll talk about starting from chapter 4. See you then. Bye.